audience response to a question about what we're doing. And directed by Joan, Kane, and produced by Crystal Fuel. Your emergency exits this afternoon are back the way you came in, or in the right rear corner of the auditorium. Please no cell phone photography, no flash photography, no recording of any kind, please. Your program this afternoon is in the form of a QR code, which is available at the picture board at the front of the theater and also in the front desk. Thank you so much. Please enjoy Susan B.
She sits in that low rocking chair, an image of repose and restfulness.
Nellie Bly, famous reporter, famous for interviewing famous people and asking searching, probing, personal questions. I will be calm and good-natured.
I hear she is always calm and good-natured. And look at her. A small shaped head, silken snowy hair combed smoothly over her ears, resting on the back of the chair.
172 speeches last year. And the year before that, even more. Sometimes 3 speeches a day. And before that, how many thousands of miles?
Her shawl half fallen from her shoulders.
I need my shawl.
The slender hands, folded idly in her lap.
Must keep from fidgeting.
See the feet just peeping from beneath the edge of the skirt? She's posing for a picture. It's perfect.
Honor the press. Remember the power of the press. Keep everybody happy.
Tell me, what was the cause of your being a suffragist? How did you begin?
That question again. Doesn't matter. Does matter. I said to my sisters in disgust, can't you find anything else to talk about? I was bored with the whole subject. And the family going on and on at the dinner table. Of course, that was more than 60 years ago. She's waiting for an answer.
She's not answering the question. Miss Anthony, how old were you when you first knew you'd spend your life fighting for women's rights?
When I was a little girl, I wanted to be a Quaker minister. I thought God would inspire me, talk to me.
A minister? Susan!
But it's my father who's talking. And he's raising one eyebrow, which he always does when he's about to say something final.
I suggest you learn to make a living.
Teaching was it, all that we women were allowed.
How old were you?
15. I lived in the house of a Quaker lady and taught her children, and the neighbors' children. 3 hours before dinner, and 3 hours after. I got $1 a day, $1 a week, and my board.
You'll get along very well, Susan, I'm sure. I mean, the children can be a little rowdy, but that should be no problem. And if Victor gets out of hand, he's so much larger than the others. But seeing as you're a girl, not like the last teacher who was a man.
Well, what happened to the last teacher?
Well, Victor threw him out a window. It was all a misunderstanding. I'm sure it won't happen again.
Who's that?
That's the new schoolma'am.
Her?
What are you going to teach us,
She
schoolma'am?
must be real smart, huh? Are you real smart?
Hey, Victor, how about it? You going to do like last time?
Put me down! Victor, how dare you?
Now, easy does it.
This instant, all
What do
right?
you know? Here's a nice open window. Oopsie daisy.
That's my ear.
You are going to be punished.
No! You're hurting. Ma. She's whooping me, Ma.
Your first school. Were you frightened?
No, I wasn't the least bit timid.
Did you ever wink at any of your scholars?
Well, I did, of course. In those days, it was the only way, we thought. But as I got older, I always felt less a woman when I struck a blow, so I stopped.
And you were content to be a teacher?
Well, I got used to it, see, but the gold rush, 1849. Oh, I want to go to Alaska. I'll find so much gold, so much precious dust. I'll have $100,000 and I can quit being a schoolma'am forever. If only I were a man, I could.
And then,
I began working for the Women's Temperance Society. We were gathering signatures to present to the New York State Legislature. We traveled to 54 counties in the winter, upstate New York. Ice storms, blizzards, walking in slush up to door after door.
My signature on that filthy paper, huh?
But this is for the Women's Temperance Society.
I can't be bothered.
Hello, my name is Susan B. Anthony, and we're...
My husband would never let me.
Hello, my name...
Leave us alone!
But this one, she's wiping her hands on her apron now. I can hear a child whimpering in the kitchen.
Yes?
She doesn't slam the door. Maybe she's just too tired.
Were you looking for my husband? Well, I don't know where he is. He'll probably be back sometime tonight. Late, I suppose.
We want to free women from a terrible situation. Did you know that a man can drink himself stupid, drink up all the money, then take what little his wife earns and drink that up too?
I know.
He can come home dead drunk and beat you up every night.
I knows that.
And you can't divorce him because he owns everything, even the clothes on your back. He owns, and you'll have nothing.
Oh, and he'll take the children. And even if he drinks himself to death, he'll leave us without a penny.
We're gathering signatures for a petition to present to the legislature granting women.
I'll sign it.
Finally, 4 months later, we have come to the New York State Legislature to present our petition of 20,000 names.
And, who signed this petition? Nothing but women and children.
Oh, I'm so mad. Nothing. We're nothing. If we had the power that puts you up there, you wouldn't laugh. And believe me, if we had the power to vote, we'd vote your head off.
That was the moment.
And when I met Elizabeth Cady Stanton, short, brown-cheeked little woman, fluffy white hair, but her words were not fluff. They stirred me to my very soul.
On the street, not far from my house in Seneca Falls, there you were, oh, with your good, earnest face, dressed in gray silk, hat, all the same color, only relieved with pale blue ribbons. Oh, neatness and sobriety you were. And you smiled. I liked you thoroughly.
I am spellbound. You were my teacher, my inspiration, my philosopher.
You were my general, planning, organizing, turning ideas into action. My own little Napoleon.
And baby minder, don't forget that. Not another one, Elizabeth. Enough is enough. 6 is enough. 7.
But you loved my children.
Pulling them around the garden in that little wagon while you wrote speech after speech, resolutions, petitions, and I was happy.
Oh, how bossy you were. Remember when you locked me in the hotel room?
And you are not coming out until you write that speech.
I wrote the speech.
Fine speech.
Oh, the fights we had. At the dining room table, I'm writing. You're pacing up and down. Susan, you're making me nervous.
You? Nervous? Ha! Never.
And then we get into a fight.
And you storm out of the room, and I storm out by the opposite door. Each of us walking in the garden.
And then,
Walking together, holding hands.
Miss Anthony,
Yes?
try another tack. What is the secret of your work?
Secret? No secret. If there is something to do, I do it.
And you finally won in the New York State Legislature.
Oh, yes. The legislature passed a law giving women equal property rights and mothers equal rights to the children with the fathers. Only a few years later, they rescinded the law.
Rescinded? All that work for nothing?
It wasn't for nothing.
You ever lose hope?
No,
Failure?
there is no failure. Failure is impossible. There is just going on.
A warrior. A small, silver-haired warrior. But I don't believe her.
Sometimes, perhaps, I get a little weary. Oh, Mrs. Stanton, I long to rest my full soul close. There is so much to discourage, and I feel alone.
you are not alone.
But it's usually just one of my tired moments.
You've worked so hard, haven't you, Miss Anthony? And you worked to end slavery. You were active in the Underground Railway. And you stood by Sir John True.
Oh, now there was a woman, 6 feet tall, and every insult that could be hurled, for being black, for being a woman, was hurled at her. She kept on.
Finally, you won.
Years and years. And finally, what did we win?
The right of male citizens to vote shall not be denied.
On account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude.
And our rights? We women are black, white, we have many colors, different races. Servitude? Oh yes, we have that.
Susan, I know you're disappointed.
Frederick Douglass, how could you desert us?
Can we not wait until the cause of the Negro man is safe? You know I support women's suffrage, but The times are still perilous.
Wait, be patient. How long have we women been hearing that? I'm tired of being patient. If we cannot get the Congress to support us, we'll go state by state.
You were campaigning not long ago in the West.
That's where we'll win, in the West. Strong, independent folk, pioneers. The East, old fogies. Wyoming granted the vote in the 60s. Colorado has just come in.
There are people in Colorado who say women's suffrage will lead to an increase in female insanity.
Oh, yes, well, all right. Let's look at statistics. Women have been voting in Wyoming for over 30 years. And now, there is just one insane person in the whole state. And that one is a man.
What happened in South Dakota? Were you there recently?
Last year, Reverend Anna Shaw and I traveled the whole state.
That must have been difficult for you on rough roads, by wagon, train scarce, no hotel.
She wants to say difficult at my age.
She's in her 70s.
She thinks I'm too old to go gallivanting about. But oh, Anna, what a time we had.
We're in the uncovered wagon for 8 hours. Sand like powder. Well, and the wagon wheels just kept sinking deeper and deeper. No sleep last night. We shared a one-room cabin with the whole family. And the water, so brackish, you could hardly drink it. We made it into tea. Worse. And a bath? Oh, please. And fuel was buffalo manure. And that smell permeated everything we ate. Middle of the night. It's cold. Freezing. We've left Custer City. Our hosts lent us their buffalo coats and we're huddled in the open wagon. Oh, blocks of heated wood at our feet.
An adventure.
A full moon in the sky. The trees just covered in hoarfrost. This cold, still air seems to sparkle in this brilliant light. Oh, and all night long we're talking. Plans, dreams, the vote. It will happen soon. Oh, it must. And Buffalo Gap. No train. No one in the station, no room in the station house. A cuspidor, a ticket office, the stove. And you just sit on the floor and share out your few raisins that you have for breakfast. Still no train. I'm pacing up and down the platform and you just lean up against the wall and bury your face in your hands.
I had a good sleep.
Well, 4 hours late, but the train arrives and, oh, we make it to the meeting.
The meeting is canceled.
Why?
Well, the ministers have all gotten together and persuaded us it is better we have no suffrage meeting tonight, it being Sunday.
Susan, what do we do?
We can rent a hall.
Oh, and it was glorious. Oh, the church singers singing and the great audience interested.
That
We lost South Dakota.
How hard for you?
That wasn't what was hard.
No bitter memories of South Dakota?
South Dakota was bitter. 3 years of drought. Starved horses, starved cows. Everywhere the grass withered. Her face is withered. I know she's only in her 20s. Standing in front of the tumble-down house, she stares past us, thinking over the question.
What's the hardest thing in my pioneer life? To sit in my sod house at night and listen to the wolves howl over the graves of my babies.
Such misery. That's what I remember, Miss Bly. Not mine. Theirs.
And you go on with your great battle for suffrage.
We go on, of course.
You have been much maligned, Miss Anthony.
Have I?
Burn her! Burn her in effigy!
Burn her in effigy!
Burn her in effigy!
You did that, didn't you? One cold January night in Syracuse.
Old
I'm
Anglo,
set.
personally repulsive.
And that voice!
You try speaking with a full dental plate in your mouth that doesn't ever fit right.
Ugly as a mud fence.
Don't forget the newspapers.
Lean, cadaverous, and intellectual.
New York World, 1866. How about 1873, the Western Press?
Balderdash of intense vanity, coupled either with lamentable ignorance or a guilty intention to misrepresent.
What else did it say? Go on, outside of this.
Outside of this, her argument was well stated and her deductions generally logical.
I like that one.
Now, after 50 years of struggle,
And how many more years?
now they sit at your feet. And you've known all our presidents.
Well, they certainly don't sit at my feet. As for that Grover Cleveland, what right has he to talk about the sanctity of the home with his mistresses in the White House and carrying on? Ridiculous. But Teddy Roosevelt was no better. I wanted to light a fire under him.
Mothers, bring you their babies.
Oh, Miss Anthony. Oh, we traveled 25 miles in a carriage to this rally in Lincoln, Kansas. My daughter and me to see you.
How old is your daughter? She looks very small.
4 weeks. I'd like you to hold her. Oh, would you take her, please?
I hold this tiny baby in my arms.
Someday when she's grown, I'm going to tell her that Susan B. Anthony held you in her arms.
And no more name calling.
Apparently, I'm not ugly anymore. But I haven't changed. You see, I'm certainly no prettier. First, they laughed. Then, as my message began to be taken seriously, they got angry and vicious.
Repugnant creature!
White-haired harlot!
Hoarfrost!
But when I wouldn't go away, they got used to me. They even began to expect me. If I didn't appear at meetings, they got nervous. As for the press, well, Nellie, you know I've always been good copy. No one even makes fun of my clothes anymore. Well, everyone knows my red shawl. Well, sometimes I need a change. So tonight, I'll wear my new white shawl to the suffrage convention. Only the newspaper men don't like it one bit.
I have a note from the Washington Press Corps, Miss Anthony. Will you read it?
It says,
No red shawl, no report.
You won't cover the convention.
We will not.
All right, boys. I sent to the hotel for it. Minutes pass. Minutes go by, and the audience is silent.
We're all waiting.
This is show. Put it on.
Put it on. Put it on!
I put it on. The reporters take up their pencils.
I wonder what has carried her these many years. What faith?
She wants to ask me if I believe in God. Oh, Elizabeth, if you were here, you'd give her a good talking to.
Susan, you are a coward.
Well, at least I'm not a bigot.
You calling me
All right, you're an atheist.
agnostic?
But that doesn't give you the right to persecute women who believe. Liberals can be bigots too.
Don't you know the worst bigot of all is the church? And you're truckling under to them.
Well, we have to welcome everyone. I'm not about to persecute women because they're Catholic or Jewish or Muslim.
All you care about is making the movement
Well,
popular.
of course I do. And don't you see, this anti-religion fuss is just distracting from the main work. The vote or nothing, you said so yourself.
Don't you see that until women are emancipated from their superstitions, enfranchising them with the vote will do no good at all? Until they can think for themselves, the vote won't do any good at all.
And I say, women must be enfranchised before they can be emancipated from superstition. Don't you see that women will only think for themselves when they realize that what they think matters, when they can make themselves heard by voting?
Before they can be free to vote, they need to be free to think.
But what good are thoughts without the power to make them real?
That was a fight. Wonderful.
Wonderful. But it went on and on. People began to worry.
If they split, what'll happen to the movement will fall apart.
And then you came out with your woman's Bible. That made things even worse. Oh, the uproar, the flap.
How dare she?
Rewriting the Holy Scriptures from a woman's point of view.
Blasphemy!
I propose to censure Mrs. Stanton out! Out!
Out of the convention!
We demand a resolution against her!
You had better not start resolving against individuals, or you will find no limit. This year it is Mrs. Stanton. Next year it may be me or one of you. Will you vote to censure a woman who has stood for half a century, the acknowledged leader of progressive thought, fighting for the absolute freedom of women?
You calmed them down. Thank you, dear friend.
I still don't agree with you.
As usual, you are a thorn in my side.
I am a thorn in your side.
Now I suppose you'll want a divorce? Oh, no, wait. I will allow no such proceedings. I consider our relation for life, so make the best of it.
I did.
We did.
Do you believe in God?
Believe, not believe what is so important.
You don't believe in God.
I don't believe there is any God of the universe who is made happy by my getting down on my knees and calling him great.
Try again. We hear you're interested in the work of Miss Annie Besant.
Oh yes, the noted English spiritualist.
Does that mean you believe in her theory of reincarnation?
I'll tell you the really humiliating part. After a creature has lived in the heavenly kingdom for 15,000 years in glory, in order to get back here to help us poor creatures, it has to resort to the doubtful process of getting born and going through mumps and measles and teething over and over again.
So you don't accept any established religion?
I think you and I had better just hang on to this world and keep tugging away to make things better for the next generation.
Do you firmly believe that women will get the vote?
It will come. But I will never see it.
Have you ever prayed, Miss Anthony?
I pray every single second of my life. Work is my prayer.
Are you afraid of
Death? My sister Hannah is sitting by the window. She knows she's dying.
Talk to me, Susan. Talk to me about us all meeting someplace. Somewhere. After.
I know what she wants. If I say I have faith, I'm lying. I've always been such a terrible liar.
Susan?
She wants comfort. Words. Any words. What she gets from me is silence. And now every hour of every day, I feel her gone from me.
Do you believe, Miss Anthony?
I believe that no particle of matter is ever lost. So why should any particle of mind be ever lost? No, the thought of death doesn't bother me. Not my death.
A telegram, Miss Anthony, from Miss Harriet Stanton.
From your daughter, Elizabeth, but why is she writing? My hands are shaking. October 26, 1902. Mother passed away today. So few words, so plain. But the world goes on and on, and I can think of nothing.
Miss Anthony?
I don't know anything about heaven or hell or whether I shall ever meet my friends again. Any more questions, Miss Bly?
But Susan, you do know.
Elizabeth!
Please, call me Nellie.
Hi. Oh, yes, but, yes, of course. And you will call me Susan.
Susan. Many people call you Aunt Susan.
No, the young ones, they're all my nieces. I never had children, I never married, but my family is
the world. So many friends.
The enemies have gone quiet, or I don't hear them.
You and Frederick Douglass, you had a notable disagreement. Well, falling out, wasn't it? He championed the Negro vote before
The
the women's
Negro
vote.
man's vote. What about Negro women? What about all women? What about everyone? Oh, dear, why am I still?
Did you ever, I mean, before you...
Years and years of silence between us. My friend. How many years?
Susan, I told you.
You came back.
I promised.
Let me help you to the speaker's platform. Take my arm.
I'll take your arm. So good.
So good.
You became reconciled?
What a speech he gave to the convention. All the fire, all the old...
It must have been a terrible shock for you.
The world.
Only hours later.
I left the hall. I ran. I ran.
You ran to me and you were too late.
How could you?
Dying is not an invitation.
I know.
Thank you for being with my wife Helen those next days and helping her. You stayed in your old room, Susan, at the house with your portrait up on the wall. I never took it down.
I stayed. I wanted to do something. I kept waiting.
There.
Were you? Were you? Watching.
She's gone away from me again. Miss Anthony. Susan.
Come back. I must come back. Yes.
Have you ever been in love?
In love? Bless you. I've been in love 1,000 times.
Really? This is it. An exclusive. Her confession.
Yes, really.
Really?
And I knew they wouldn't last.
She won't say anymore. I think, Miss Anthony, Susan, I think many people love you.
Isn't it amazing that I've stayed alive long enough after all the curses, the shouting and sneering and spitting, to hear that?
She's telling me the interview is over. I will tiptoe out. I wonder what she's dreaming.
Why, of all people, do I dream of Nellie Bly? Well, the interview, of course. So long ago. In Philadelphia, wasn't it? But we made the Sunday edition of the New York World. A whole page. 7 pictures. 7 pictures of me at 76. Well, why not? Now it's 1903. I'm 83. And still here, in Washington, waiting for the convention. It's already begun. I'm late. There's Anna, one of my nieces, looking for me. Now, Susan, they have a new president. Carrie Chapman Cat is going to do just fine. You chose her yourself, so they can do very well without you. I'll just slip into the hall, quietly.
You happen. Oh, Aunt Susan.
I happened.
Susan B. Anthony died in 1906. She was 86. She never saw the day that women got removed.
But I never doubted.
The funeral was in Rochester.
No grieving. No shades drawn, no black crepe hung, please.
Over 10,000 mourners came to say goodbye. Many black people and one old white-haired Negro man limped down the aisle and stood for a moment at the casket. He plucked a leaf from the flowers and said,
I'm going to keep this to remember Miss Anthony by.
I want no tears. Pass on and go on with the work.
Aunt Susan, do you think there will ever be a woman?
Absolutely. There will be a woman president. And you young ones, do I have to keep coming back from wherever I am to stir you up? How can you not all be on Fire!